But let's get to the big news for the day. The government relaxing the foreign direct investment of FDI norms in a host of sectors, including the civil aviation, single brand retail, defense, pharma, by permitting more investments under the automatic route. Other sectors in which FDI norms have been relaxed include e-commerce and food products, broadcasting carriage services, private security agencies and animal husbandry as well. Now, the decision to further liberalize the foreign direct investment with the objective of quote-unquote providing major impetus to employment and job creation in India was taken at this meeting that was chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. This is being seen as the second major reform, especially in the FDI space. Let's go straight now to India Today. Shweta Punj. Shweta, this is a big, major reform that has been, decided by the Prime Minister.
Absolutely. This is definitely a big reform push, and it comes at a time when everyone's doubting the government's ability to push through reforms. So while the government has faced a lot of criticism on not pushing through tax reforms, but this entire push about towards opening up various sectors is clearly in line with making doing business in India easier. A push towards the Make in India campaign, because if you're making it companies to come and invest in India, they're going to come here, make in India, create more jobs. So it's serving a lot of trying to fulfill, it's an attempt to fulfill several objectives that this government had laid out.
And Shweta, I was just, I had some facts that the kind of FDI inflows that we have seen just rising rapidly, it's gone up from $24 billion in 2012 to $44.2 billion in 2015, and that's about a 7-year high, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this decision that has been taken would only go on, to boost the economy further.
Absolutely. So, even in defense, India opened up FDI to 49%, but we haven't seen much traction in that space. So clearly there are fundamental issues somewhere, which is why India has not been able to attract the kind of investment. So I was speaking to a few people, and the feedback has been that ease of doing business still remains a distant reality, because for every foreign investment proposal that comes into India, it goes to a board for a lot of sectors. Now they've made it automatic, which would mean that a lot of bureaucratic red tape would be cut off. So it's a big signal that's going out to the world that, hey, we are open, so come and invest here. It's also
modern technology or 3 साल का
cutting-edge technology in addition to 3 years of relaxation on local sourcing norms.
हाँ नहीं, उसका आप details थोड़ा wait कर लीजिए, because no, you see, there are you have to wait for the detailed press release to come in this regard, because there are some finer points which I think are not fully captured in the press release. So please wait for the final announcement.
Policy आने के बाद, are you happy with the way that definition has come about, the way they have, the cutting edge technology has been defined by the IPP?
No. Now we are the entire phrase. There is a redefinition of the whole thing. That cutting edge and all be. There is no question of being happy or unhappy with this.
But it's a conscious policy decision.
Quickly. कहना है कि सिविल एविएशन पॉलिसी में 100% एविएशन सेक्टर में एफडीआई की जरूरत क्या थी, जबकि डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्री अपने आप अच्छा खासा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रही है. उनको विदेशों से कम्पीट करना पड़ेगा, उनके लिए मुश्किल होगी.
नहीं, कोई देखिए, किसी के ऊपर कोई दबाव नहीं कि वो एफडीआई लाए. ये तो कंपलसरी नहीं कि भाई आप मतलब एक डोमेस्टिक एविएशन कंपनी है और उनके ऊपर तो ये कोई मतलब कंपल्सन नहीं है, कोई जबरदस्ती नहीं कि आप एफडीआई लाइए. अगर उनको चाहिए तो एफडीआई वो लाएंगे और वो उनका कैपेबिलिटी भी बढ़ा पाएंगे, और धीरे धीरे मतलब वो जो सिविल एविएशन पॉलिसी आने के बाद वो उनका नेटवर्क बाहर भी, देश के बाहर भी मतलब ये कर सकते हैं, एक्सपेंड कर सकते हैं. ओके, आई थिंक दैट शुड बी
up to 100% up beyond 49 with approval route, of course, sir. Please, it's very important. It's an important sector, sir.
Yeah.
So some words on that also, please, sir. Impact likely.
Defense, we have already series of measures have been announced. The proposals have not yet come, so the effort was to see why the proposals are not coming for investment. So therefore some more liberalization has been done. So with this liberalization we would expect again some manufacturing activity in defense products to come in. And again, let me say, the driving force behind the whole thing is that all these investments should facilitate creation of jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So the creation of jobs, a very important point that was made there, Shweta, isn't it? But China still continues to attract larger FDI inflows than India. Of course, on the domestic front, India is one of the fastest growing Asian economies. But why is that? Though, India is trying its best to close that gap, but do you still feel that there are more challenges that lie ahead of us?
Definitely, there are challenges. Opening up of sectors is one big ideological roadblock also, which I think the BJP has crossed. But now implementing it, because a lot of implementation happens in the states. You can give directions from the center, but it needs to go down to the states, because that's where the paperwork is happening. That's where, if goods are coming in from another country, they're coming in at a port, say somewhere in Gujarat. So your customs official there needs to understand this entire opening up and the entire ease of doing business, which is what this government has been trying to push.
And how are they trying to overcome this? Because what you're talking about, the kind of red tapeism or bureaucratic tangles, or the way business is done, and that's one of the things what poses as a deterrent to all of these foreign companies when they want to invest. But the Prime Minister, in fact, has been emphasizing on how he's trying to ensure that business is done in a free way without any obstacles or hurdles. How do they plan to overcome that roadblock or that challenge? Because it's deep rooted, isn't it, Shweta?
Absolutely. So when they say automatic route, it basically means that you can that's my understanding so far, that it can be done online. There's certain parameters that if you meet them, there's a standardized format. If you are able to meet all those conditions, your investment into the country would be automatically approved. You will not have to go wait outside offices with different forms and getting clearances and approvals one by one. All of this has been consolidated. A single window has been created, and you just have to cross that and clear that, and then and your investment.
That's big. That's
a big thing. So they've started this. They started with a few sectors, and they've gone ahead and included more sectors, which like I said earlier, it's in line with making ease of doing business, because that's going to be the focus of this government, at least for the next 1 year. This is their big agenda right now.
And can you just explain this to us? Government opening up defense, pharma, aviation, 100% there. What exactly would this now mean in the coming few months?
So when you open up a sector, you are making it easier for Indian companies to raise funds, right? And you're also inviting foreign companies to come and set up base here, which means, for instance, say a company like IKEA, which has been wanting to come in and set up, and they've been caught up in a lot of red tape and a lot of policy uncertainty. It makes it easier for them now to come and set up a base, a manufacturing facility, or whatever they want to do here in India. However, this is one step. Now, for that you need land. For that you need other things, right? Which is where states come into play. But this is a huge signal going out to the world that India is an open economy. And a point that I wanted to make earlier as well, that BJP has been, associated as a very protectionist party, with its RSS roots and with its Swadeshi economics that protect everything Indian, promote Indian, all of that. Here you're creating a free market economy. You're opening it up for competition. You're getting, China, for instance, kept its economy closed for a very long time. But we are not doing that. So the homegrown industries will also have to up their game and become more competitive, introduce best practices, and ultimately it's the consumer who wins, because we get better service, we get better facilities, better value for what we spend. So this is a great way to open up the economy, make it a more competitive space. And but of course it'll be a divided house on that. I'm sure a lot of small and medium enterprises might be a bit concerned, but for now it's definitely a big plus. It's a huge positive signal going out to the world that
but there
we
has
mean
been
business.
Opposition coming in from the local shops. There's been a lot of criticism, there's been a lot of insecurity also that has been voiced by them, because of if you just hear or listen to their point of view, they feel isolated. They feel that probably justice is not being done to them because they've been doing the business for so many years, unchecked, and no one really. And now all of a sudden you have all these big daddies coming from abroad and setting up space, which is also a requirement in today's time. How do you think the government plans to tackle that, and especially educate the states also to perhaps even send out that message to these people as well, not to feel threatened?
So there's a lot of so multi-brand retail FDI is still not opened up, which is a big lobby.
True.
So that's one. But beyond that, there is a lot of sensitization effort going on with the states, and a lot of states are going ahead and pushing through their own reforms. Like Rajasthan has done that in labor, and they've made it easier for companies to hire and fire labor. So a lot of states are doing that on their own, and there's a lot of monitoring that's happening from the central government as well, where we have the PMO, we have the finance ministry trying to keep tabs on how states are progressing, and DIPP had come out with a ranking of how different states are faring on this ease of doing business. Also the timing, Avantika, is quite interesting because the government right now is facing flack over this entire Raghuram Rajan exit, or him leaving his job as a governor by September, and then today we have this huge big bang announcement coming out. So that's what's going to dominate the headlines now.
Oh, absolutely. And it is, Shweta, we also have with us Divina Gupta. A big major reform push there, a big decision there that has been taken by the government. What are the kind of reactions, Divina, that you're getting in right now?
Right, Avantika, we are waiting for the Union Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, to formally also address the media in about 10 minutes from now. But what I can see, as Shweta was pointing out in the Big Bang reforms that we've seen of the FDI norms, this is the second biggest reform after November 2015 that the Modi government has come out with, and clearly to reflect the negativism that has been spread after our exit that was announced on the weekend. Now, let me quickly take you through the major highlights of this particular announcement, which has also been seen to help the global giants like Apple gain entry, because the single brand retail norms have been relaxed from 30% local sourcing for Apple. Now, they would have, if they apply for the license, that's what the Commerce Ministry is saying, that 3 years of relaxation, which can be extended up to 5 years. There have also been relaxation in terms of airports, brownfield projects, that is the ongoing projects where the FDI cap has been changed. And also for domestic airlines, it's a good news because now they will have more margin for foreign investment as well, because now they would have 49%, which has been permitted under automatic route, and beyond 49% they'll have to go through government approval. So essentially they have more room to attract foreign investors. In defense as well, that we have seen that certain clauses have been done away with, including which has taken the FDI up to 100%, doing away with state-of-art technology. So in a sense, it all means that the Modi government is sending a signal. India is ready for business in this global volatile environment. And
right. All right, Divina. So clearly also with an eye on creating more jobs, this big decision has been taken and an announcement that has been made, but we're still waiting for an official reaction there. But we have with us Dhiren Kumar, trade expert, who joins us right now. Mr. Kumar, how would you react to this big, FDI reform push that has been announced by the government?
It's really big, in a sense that it simplifies, does it in a fairly straightforward manner. It eliminates all kind of ambiguity, and it is just rule-based compliance for attracting greater more capital. So that definitely creates, of course, there will be problems for the pharma sector as a result of this for some companies, but aviation certainly, it has the potential to attract plenty of capital, and it can. And if you look at it in conjunction with other rules and policies framed from different sectors, looked at it in conjunction with that, I think this could be magical.
All right, Mr. Kumar, my colleague Shweta Punj from India Today also would like to ask a couple of questions. She, of course, tracks this subject quite closely. Shweta, go ahead.
Mr. Kumar, great. It's a great first step, and as you rightly pointed out, it's a huge push towards reform. But going forward, what do you think does the government need to do to really make sure that investments do come in? Because we do know that defense, even after opening up 49%, has not really taken off the way government would have liked to.
No, they just need to, do the simplest administrative streamlining. Because, we have seen it in the past that there are grand policies, and when it comes to the greater details, things get stuck. We saw it with the FDI in retail and things like that. And that, I think, is, that is one of the biggest contribution of Modi government. That is not considered a big reform, but it is an eye on the tiny thing. It is eye on the smaller thing. It is streamlining the smaller procedures,
Right.
which drives away investors.
Any,
that, I think, is a big deal.
Mr. Kumar, any specific companies that you feel will strongly benefit at this point in time with this entire push?
This entire push, as you would have witnessed, that Interglobe Aviation, the parent company of Indigo, is up about 6%, and I think this is just a small start. It has the potential. If we look at it, so aviation companies, and this one in particular,
All right.
could be a big beneficiary. Some pharma companies will, pharma as a sector, many companies might get hurt because
Right.
many companies will have the incentive to come and set up their own businesses here on a comprehensive scale.
All right, Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for your time. A big thumbs up there to the FDI reforms push. We're still awaiting an official, announcement from the Commerce and Industry Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. Shweta, thanks so much. Let's go straight now to India Today. Shweta Punj. Shweta, this is a big, major reform that has been, decided by the Prime Minister.
Absolutely. This is definitely a big reform push, and it comes at a time when everyone's doubting the government's ability to push through reforms. So while the government has faced a lot of criticism on not pushing through tax reforms, but this clear...
Now, the decision to further liberalize the foreign direct investment with the objective of quote-unquote providing major impetus to employment and job creation in India was taken at this meeting that was chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. This is being seen as the second major reform, especially in the FDI space. But let's get to the big news for the day. The government relaxing the foreign direct investment of FDI norms in a host of sectors, including the civil aviation, single brand retail, defense, pharma, by permitting more investments under the automatic route. Other sectors in which FDI norms have been relaxed include e-commerce and food products, broadcasting carriage services, private security agencies and animal husbandry as well.
that this government had laid out.
And Shweta, I was just, I had some facts that the kind of FDI inflows that we have seen just rising rapidly, it's gone up from $24 billion in 2012 to $44.2 billion in 2015, and that's about a 7-year high, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this decision that has been taken would only go on, to boost the economy further.
This entire push about towards opening up various sectors is clearly in line with making doing business in India easier, a push towards the Make in India campaign, because if you're making it companies to come and invest in India, they're going to come here, make in India, create more jobs. So it's serving a lot of trying to fulfill, it's an attempt to fulfill several objectives.